The Media Coalition Against Galamsey and Occupy Ghana have expressed disappointment by the revelation made by Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, that hundreds of seized Galamsey excavators have disappeared from district assemblies around the country. Professor Frimpong Boateng, speaking on the Super Morning Show a few days ago, revealed that only a handful of the excavators can be traced.
How many excavators have been impounded in total?
In total, right now we have about 140 or so in our custody.
140?
Yes.
After the first year where the then Minister for Land and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewo, was going around, in 1 year we had about 500 seized.
No, that was not the case. We were told that 500 had been seized and given to the district assemblies and so on.
Because that was the official figure put out at the time.
But later on, when we went out to check, the number was far lower than that.
What was the number at the time?
I can't tell exactly what, but it was far lower than the 500 that was initially declared. We sent people out there to talk to the district assembly, and we got Vanguard involved, and most of them had disappeared.
Most had disappeared?
Yes.
Most had disappeared, he says, but the Media Coalition Against Galamsey and Occupy Ghana are displeased with that news. In a statement jointly signed by the two groups, they expressed disappointment at the turn of events. Engineer Ken Ashibe is a member of the coalition. He's been speaking to JoyNews.
Yeah, it calls for a lot of, because we cannot just allow excavators to go missing. You know that excavators are not mobile phones that you can just put in your pocket. It's the reason why we're saying that there's a law. The Minerals and Mining Act is very in what should happen. Once you are found with an excavator, you are supposed to be arrested. Once you are arrested, the excavators are supposed to be confiscated and kept with the police. So how come these excavators who found their way to the NMDAs and now the excavators cannot be found? So who took inventory? Who were the officers who were responsible? These officers and these who handled this definitely need to be brought to book. Then also, if they went to court, it would be good to get a report of what happened to them. And once you go to court, you are convicted. These equipment are supposed to be forfeited and then less published by the Minister of Mines. Then also, interestingly, if you look at government's own roadmap to lifting of the ban on artisanal mining, it states specifically that these equipment are supposed to be registered and tracked. So if we were tracking them, then they cannot be lost because we definitely would find them. And, you know, these are not small and little equipment that people can hide. So it is really important that we get to the bottom of this because till we applying the laws. Now we've stiffened the punishment. The Minerals and Mining Act has been amended and been stiffened. But if the people who are involved in this know that when they do this, all we will do is talk, but nothing would happen. It is the reason why you have the challenges that occurred at Dollar Tower, where some security officers were even killed. Now, if you take in the Western region, the water treatment plant at Galamsey, the plant is now a colloid. It's no more, a solution. The water is no more water again. The turbidity is so high. The only way we can bring the fight back is to ensure that people who do wrong for excavators that have been seized that are missing, these people should be held accountable. And we should also be seen to be applying our laws as strictly as we can.
Right. On that point of people who do wrong being held accountable, is it your suspicion that there are some state officials involved, considering the fact that these were seized excavators?
No, definitely. Daniel, whoever seized this excavator would have had to take inventory. He would have had to pass it on to people. So if it was at assemblies, who other assemblies took charge of these things and how come they cannot be found? These people have to be held accountable. The state officials who were involved in this, who were the people who did not ensure that when these excavators were seized, were taken to the police so that they were kept safe. We need to hold all of these people accountable. We need to demand answers for it. So it's important that the interministerial committee gives us answers for this. And the policy statement came directly from the interministerial committee. They were supposed to be responsible for the tagging, the tracking, the geofencing of all of these excavators.
And even the initial seizure was done some of the initial seizure was even done by the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Exactly.
So, Engineer Ashigbe, tell us, please, as a coalition, and I see you teaming up with Occupy Ghana here, what action are you going to take?
Well, this is the first step, and the hope is that you, the media, whose coalition this is, will take this up and ask for the answers. Because the good thing is that the Constitution mandates you to hold leadership to account. So this is the first step in issuing, and we are hoping that we will get answers from the interministerial committees today. And once we do that, and we know who are the people who get reports, maybe for all you know, people have been lined up in the court, and we know what the next steps are. But it is important that we signal right, because some of the things we are beginning to see do not bode well for all of us.
Finally, Engineer Ashigbe, it is the view of some, and we've sampled these views from the public, especially on social media, that with the exit of John Peter Amewu from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the fight against Galamsey generally lost a certain verve or impetus. Would you agree?
Well, if you look at the output and what happened, you would want to believe that. But the thing that I'm pleased about now, that we are beginning to see the minister, the new minister for mines. When he came in, he was very quiet, you know, but now we're beginning to see him move into these spaces. He was in a place where for 3 weeks distractions were happening, and we don't know why the drones were not able to capture that. But at least that is some start. And he's promised that he was going to get 2 platoons to get into those places. We hope that continues to happen. I feel that he was in the north as well. We need to support that. I've heard the Minister for Development also make had made a few statements, but we need to go beyond the statement. We need to see action being taken. So I'm hoping that this will get to the attention of the president himself, so that he will ask the interministerial committees to find out who were responsible for this, who are the people who are going into these forest reserves, who are destroying the forest reserves, who are the people who are polluting the western region waters and all of that. So we want to see action beyond this. And most importantly, you, the media, we're hoping that this would also wake you up out of your slumber too and hold these people account like you did in the past, where we saw water stability levels improve.
And talking about statements, like we indicated, one of the organizations also fighting this alongside the coalition is Occupy Ghana. Occupy Ghana issued a statement a while ago. Give you an idea what that statement says. It refers to what has happened already, and it says that the media coalition against Galamsey, Occupy Ghana, and we believe that most Ghanaians are disappointed and saddened by the revelation by the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, that hundreds of seized Galamsey excavators have disappeared from district assemblies around the country. It's a very long statement, so I'll just be jumping through. So it makes a first comment about what happened in 2006. In the 2006 Minerals and Mining Act, that says it is illegal for anyone to, quote, erect equipment for the purpose of mining without being the holder of either a mining lease or a small-scale mining license. And then in the second point, it talks about the law providing that upon the arrest of illegal miners, the equipment they were using shall, regardless of the ownership, be seized and kept in the custody of the police. It is for a very good reason that the law demands that the equipment should be kept by the police. It makes a third point, and in that third point it says that the Act demands that the arrested persons should be tried in court, and then upon conviction, the court is empowered to order the forfeiture of any equipment seized. On the fourth point, Occupy Ghana says the Act provides that within 60 days of the confiscation, the Minister for Mines shall, quote, allocate the equipment to the appropriate state institution and publish in the Gazette the name of the state institution to which the equipment is allocated. The fifth point is that the roadmap for lifting of ban on artisanal and small-scale mining and the way forward policy document says in section 3.21 bullet 3 that there shall be a, quote, directive by the government to move all earth-moving mining equipment for artisanal and small-scale mining to designated areas for subsequent registration and installation of tracking devices. So it goes on to say, make all of these points. In the sixth point, it talks about the need to know from government whether all existing mining leases and small-scale licenses have now been submitted to Parliament for ratification as is required under both the Constitution and the Minerals and Mining Act. And then it wraps up by saying that considering all of these, they are not, we know, it says, considering the above and the revelation by the minister, the government should be as unhappy as we are, and more so if government with all the power and force at its disposal is unwilling to or incapable of implementing and enforcing its own laws, then it gives a signal to potential wrongdoers that we have no respect for the rule of law. It finalizes that statement by saying that we are therefore not surprised that the war against Galamsey is generally accepted to be failing. Operation Vanguard has all but pettered out. This is unacceptable. We call on government to shake itself out of its stupor and enforce the mining law without fear or favor. We also call on the media and civil society organizations to reawaken, hold leadership to account, and reinvigorate the Stop Galamsey war. Losing this war is not an option. Occupy Ghana says irresponsible and unsustainable mining is an existential threat and should not be countenanced. And it is issued by both the Media Coalition Against Galamsey and Occupy Ghana, as indicated earlier. Well, still on Galamsey, 11 persons alleged to be legal miners from Burkina Faso have been arrested by personnel of the military detachment based in Wa, the airborne force. The 11 persons were arrested at Dorimo in the Wa West district. The arrest, however, was not without struggle, as the leader of the alleged illegal miners resisted arrest initially. Rafiq Salam joins us on the line with more. Hello, Rafiq.
Hello, Gifty.
Rafiq, what more do we know now?
The incident happened a couple of days ago at Durmo in the West district of the Upper West region. It was about taking the battle to the illegal miners at the borders of the country. Remember, what was and it's divided by the Black Water. So this military men, the airborne force detachment based in Tamale, were on Operation Conquest. They've been going around the Upper West region and to ensure that they apprehend suspected miscreants or terrorists in to ward them off the country. And so a couple of days ago, they happened to have this information about illegal miners coming from the Burkina Faso side, crossing over the Black Water into Duramo. And so they laid ambush and they were able to arrest about 11 of the suspects. 2 of them have been women. But they wanted, the information that we had was that they wanted to arrest the leader of this group who had been bringing the suspected illegal miners into the country from the West side. And so the military, in an attempt to arrest him, he locked himself inside the room. They went into the room. They went there, knocked several times, asking him to open the door. He refused. And so when the military forced the door open, the suspect was having a cordial, and he used the cordial to hit one of the military personnel. But he was overpowered by the military personnel and then arrested alongside the 10 others and taken to the Wa police station. As I talk to you now, the 10 of the suspects are stick at the Wa police station, but their leader, the supposed man who wanted to fight with a cordial, is now at the Wa Regional Hospital, and the police and the military protection at the Wa Municipal Hospital. And so that is the situation right now.
Are they being processed for courts? Will they be?
The police are saying that they are still investigating on the issue, and also the military, talking about the airborne force, they are also investigating on the issue, and then very soon they'll come out to tell us what actually transpired at the Durmo end of the country.
Rafiq, thank you for that update. Rafiq Salam, the correspondent in the Upper West region, bringing us up to speed on what has happened. 11 illegal miners, or alleged illegal miners, we understand, have been arrested. They are Burkina Bay, apparently.